I hope this is in focus. I can't see from here. Today's topic of conversation, R.F. Kuang. I was reading this, as I mentioned in my last video, and I really was enjoying it, and then I wasn't. So this is why I thought I would make this. But before I start, I just want to preface this by saying that I love R.F. Kuang's values, her themes, her opinions. Like, I agree with what she says. I agree with what she has to say in these books, in both Yellowface and Babel. I don't own the Poppy War trilogy. I don't think I will be reading the Poppy War trilogy after what I have to say on these two books. And for her next book, we'll see. We'll see. I'm still undecided. But yeah, I don't dislike her in any way, shape, or form. But I'm not really into her style of storytelling. I read Yellowface, I think 2 or 3 years ago. I wasn't really into it. I mean, the story was very, very like promising, but then she loses me with the ending. And similarly, in Babel, she loses me with the ending as well. And more than just the ending, with half the book she loses me. I was so into it for the first half. Yeah, the first half pretty much. I was tabbing it, I was excited, and you can see the tab slowly diminishing because I'm like, there's no point anymore. I figured it out. Like, I understand now that if she says this, then this will follow. There's no way really for me to make this video spoiler free because my commentary relies so much on what happens in these books, on plot points, on plot devices, on characters, on their actions. It's just, there's no way for me to make this spoiler free. So you either are not planning on reading these and want to know the tea, or you've already read these and want to know the tea. So I'm gonna start with, I have more to say about Babel, so I'll keep that one for last. So I'll start with Yellowface. First of all, why does this have deckled edges? Just kidding. I don't like deckled edges. It has nothing to do with R.F. Kuang, I don't think. But anyways, this reads like a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. It does not read like the literary fiction I was promised. Maybe I misunderstood. Very possible. This was a few years ago. In my mind, I saw R.F. Kuang as like a literary fiction fantasy author. When I say this reads like a Taylor Jenkins Reid novel, I mean that it's very easy to read. The sentences are quite simple. The structure of the book is quite simple. You even get, similar to Taylor Jenkins Reid, you even get these like stylistic paragraphs. I don't really know what I should be calling them, but like these excerpts of text that aren't like the rest of the texts. It's so different from Babel. I wasn't into it, mainly because the ending made no sense. The book was too long and the writing just, it was kind of boring. This feels very teen adjacent, the writing. My issue with this book is that the premise is so good, like so interesting, so relevant, and then you make 2/3 of the book so long and so boring and like without any development. We have these characters. We have June, we have Athena, technically dead, technically still in June's mind, and then you have like these publishing characters, like the editor and I don't know, some other publishing people, it's not very relevant, that are not very present in the book. And this is where I'm about to give you a spoiler. The premise is that once June steals from her Asian friend, she takes on this Asian-esque name so that people reading her book might think, oh, she might have like an Asian grandma or like an Asian, I don't know, parent, when in fact she's completely white. And this kind of eats her alive throughout the book. Like she thinks she's hearing Athena, she thinks she's seeing her, when in reality none of that is happening. It's just her she's kind of getting this ethical dilemma within herself, that because she knows that what she did is wrong, but she still did it. And then towards the end of the book, you get this scene where our main character is all alone at night, and she's hearing this voice. She's hearing Athena's voice, but not as like an echo, as if she was really there. And you have to think as a reader, oh, did Athena not really die? Like, was she plotting this? Like, what's going on? And then you get the randomest side character that you literally have not heard of since, I don't know, the first 10% of this book. And it's her. It's her plotting this whole thing. And I'm like, oh my god, are you kidding me? This felt like a cop-out. This felt like oh, I don't know how to end the story. Let me pull this one character that we haven't heard of for 85% of the book, and let me put her in here. It just felt so frustrating, because you're expecting this twist, and the twist really leaves you flat. You don't even want to, like, you are mad that you read this whole thing for that, which is really sad, because if the last, I don't know, 25% was a little shorter and the ending was better with a real twist, then this would have been really good. This would have been really good. Despite the Taylor Jenkins Reid analogy, it still would have been really good. I loved The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. But then Babel came around. A few of my friends wanted to read it, so we decided to all read this book together, and we were all so gutted, so disappointed, because we were all loving it. One of my friends was even like sprinting through the book. Like, she was reading this so fast because she was loving it so much, and I just wasn't into it anymore. Like, I was the last one to finish out of us three, because like the last like 30% is just so, it's like these characters make decisions after decisions, and you're like, is this, who thought of this, who approved this, who said, oh yeah, let's send this to publishing? This gives like the Secret History level of what the hell is going on, but not in a good way, because at least the Secret History's ending made sense. Like, it made sense, but this one made no sense. For those who haven't read this book, this is the story of a boy from China named Robert, not his real name, his English name, who arrives to Oxford to study translations, to study English, ancient Greek, Latin, Chinese, Mandarin, like a bunch of languages. And this school, this Babel School of Translation, has these silver bars. This is the fantasy aspect. Has these silver bars that have 2 words written on them. One word in, let's say, English, and one word in, let's say, Mandarin. And the history between the 2 words, the etymology between the 2 words, kind of like gives them a new meaning, and gives this silver bar powers. I can't think of an example right now, but basically they do things that you want them to do. Like, let's say you want to drive a car, but your car is not fast enough. They might just put, like, I don't know, horsepower and like horse in 2 different languages. I have no clue, to make it go faster. I don't know. Yeah, so you get these 4 kids, Robert and 3 other students at this school, and you have the professors as well. The main one is called Professor Lavelle, I believe is how it's pronounced, who is the one that brought Robert back from China. Now, obviously, this isn't just about translation. Half of it, I would say, is, and the other half is about a revolution. The name of the book actually is Babel, but the full name is Babel, or the Necessity of Violence, an Arc in History of the Oxford Translators' Revolution. They orchestrate a revolution in this book, the students, because they see how the UK is basically ruining its colonies and just other countries' economies, and they're super against it with reason. But the things that they do to try to fight the English government is nonsensical. Me and my friends were baffled by the ending. We're baffled by the choices these characters made, by the writing, by Kuang's writing. Now listen, she writes really well. Maybe it's her storytelling. Maybe that's the word I should be using. She has this habit of using foreshadowing too much. She acts, or she writes like the readers are dumb, like the readers are just learned how to read. Like, she will explain to you step by step what is going on to make sure that you understood, instead of just being like normal. Instead of just like, you know, this show Don't Tell. Yeah, no, that's not what she does. She tells you step by step. She doesn't show you, she tells you. And this is my biggest issue with her writing. In Yellowface, I don't remember if that wasn't a huge issue, but in Babel it definitely is. I have a bunch of examples tabbed here, and they weren't meant to be examples. I thought I was just very smart and was catching on to the foreshadowing, and then after a bit I realized, oh no, it's not me that's catching on, it's Kuang that's just telling me everything that's gonna happen before it happens, because why make a book fun? Okay, but like I was saying, why leave suspense? Why leave intrigue in your book when you can just spoil it all for your reader on the first page? No, I'm kidding, not the first page, but it's pretty much that. Like, let me find an example. Okay, so all the blue tabs are foreshadowing. Mind you, you think, oh, it's foreshadowing for like, I don't know, the end of the book, or like halfway through. No, it's foreshadowing for like the next chapter. Girl. Here. So, Professor Lavelle goes to China and brings back Robert to the UK. Now, how does Professor Lavelle know this kid? How does he know that this kid speaks Mandarin, this kid speaks English, that this kid reads the classics, that this kid is fluent? Like, how does he know that? We don't really know until page 14, when you have this quote.
Actually, I think it has to start at page 13. Oh yeah, here.
So this is, for context, this is the scene where on page 13, where Robert chooses his English name because his Chinese name isn't, I don't know, good enough for the professor, I guess. He asks him to change it to an English name, and so Robert goes, I've been saying Robert this whole time. It's Robin. I knew something was off. It's Robin. His name is Robin. Oh my god. Alright, well, Robin chooses his first name and says he's Robin, and then the professor asks him to pick a last name, and now I'll just read what the exchange is. The boy blinked at him. Pick a surname? Family names were not things to be dropped and replaced at whim, he thought. They marked lineage, they marked belonging. The English reinvent their names all the time, said Professor Lavelle. The only families who keep theirs do it because they have titles to hold on to. And you certainly haven't got any. You only need a handle to introduce yourself by. Any name will do. Then Robin says, then can I take yours, Lavelle? Oh no, said Professor Lavelle. They'll think I'm your father. Oh, of course. The boy's eyes cast desperately around the room, searching for some word or sound to latch onto. They landed on a familiar volume on the shelf above Professor Lavelle's head. Gulliver's Travels. A stranger in a strange land, who had to learn the local language if he wished not to die. He thought he understood now how Gulliver felt. And then he picks the last name Swift. So Robin Swift. So yeah, right on page 14 you get, oh, they'll think I'm your father. So you're like, oh, okay, this is foreshadowing. Professor Lavelle is Robin's father. Then, a bit later on,
Let me see what page it is. Here.
Now we're on page 31. So about 15 pages later, the professor was having some colleagues or friends at his house, and Robin was nearby, and one of the professor's friends sees Robin and says, "My goodness," the fourth man, whose pale blue eyes Robin found unnerving, bent down to inspect him as if through a massive invisible magnifying glass. "Is this the new one? He's even more of your spitting image than the last." Professor Lavelle's voice cut through the room like glass. "Hayward! Really, it's uncanny. I mean, look at his eyes. Not the color, but the shape. Hayward!" Robin glanced back and forth between them, baffled. "That's quite enough," said Professor Lavelle. "Robin, go." Are you kidding? So in the first 30 pages, you're going to drop this lore, this foreshadowing, for us to find out that these two are related, and then like halfway through the book you finally get Robin to open up to the professor and tell him, "Oh, I know I'm your son, blah 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 blah," and then Robin just kills him. I mean, he deserved it, but what a choice. And it's so many of these examples. Like,
Let me see another one. What's this one?
another one, page 67. Robin's out at night and sees this Chinese looking guy, and thinks to himself, he could have been looking in a mirror. Those were his brown eyes, his own straight nose, his own chestnut hair that even fell over his eyes the same way, swooping messily from left to right. So now you're telling me that there's a brother involved, and that's how you like introduce him? And mind you, this is like pretty like not too far from the moment that he actually meets the brother and finds out that he is his brother. But like, it's just too many instances where you're just gonna drop like something so obvious so that we don't even get to find out. Like you're just telling us, "Oh, this is his brother. He looks the same." Like my friend, so no offense to him, but I feel like he had such high expectations that from that scene he just assumed, oh, it's his first time seeing another Chinese person in Oxford. I was like, no, I've been reading these 60 pages and I've noticed this is straight up telling you, or this R.F. Kuang is straight up telling you this man is his brother. They look the same. They're twins. Well, they're not twins, but they look the same. Same thing with the professor. This isn't just R.F. Kuang being like, oh, they have a little resemblance. Oh, you know, like father figure. No, this man's his father. Like, can we be serious for a moment? She did have some good quotes though. I will give her that. For example, like, "What you don't understand," said Rami, the other male student, "is how much people like you will excuse if it just means they can get tea and coffee on their breakfast tables. They don't care, Letty. They just don't care." And the context for this is just that, like, as long as people have what they want to have, then they're not going to care about the misfortune of others. They're not going to care about poverty. They're not going to care about people struggling. As long as they're okay, it's just a very selfish way of to live, basically. And that's one thing that R.F. Kuang is criticizing in this book, which I appreciated. Another one here: "Those Baptists went back to England and drummed up support on the grounds of religion, not natural rights. My point being, abolition happened because white people found reasons to care, whether those be economic or religious. You just have to make them think they came up with the idea themselves." Very true. You can't appeal to their inner goodness. I have never met an Englishman I trusted to do the right thing out of sympathy. Again, that very much giving like they need something in return. They need, whether it be money or some kind of advantage, they will not do it on their own. Which, you know, I guess since this is like the 1800s, is probably truer than it is today. But regardless, like, she had a lot to say about white people. And that was another thing that bothered me, is that we get it. You can say it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4, 5 even. But when you're on your like 50th, white people bad, white people mad, white people evil, white people capitalist, white, like, we get it. Oh my, you don't have to remind us every single time. And don't tell me it was only white people. I believe it, but don't just go, oh, white people, white people, white people, because I am 100% sure, and we see it happen in the book, that some people will turn on their own peoples. Okay, they will turn on their own people to be with the white people. And this, yeah, no comment. And the whole death of the professor halfway through the book kind of like starts this inevitable like downwards roller coaster, in the sense that nothing goes well after that death. They get back to the UK, they try to hide, they lie to neighbors, they lie to professors, they lie to everyone they know, to students, and expect it to be like all okay, as if that would make sense. Because for those who've read the books, you know that there's this like secret club, you know, that's like operating at night trying to steal the silver from the university. And you would think that these students, being well into like their early 20s at this point in the story, would have more like critical thinking, critical thoughts. They would be more intelligent about what they say and what they do, because you're supposed to be la creme de la creme. Like, you're supposed to know exactly like what you're talking about. You go to the best college in the world probably at this point, and yet you act like children. You act like 12-year-olds, and it makes no sense. Like, it's just because like the actions don't match the words. Like, our Kuang tells us this about these characters, and then their actions tell us a whole different story. Like, they tell us a story of cowardice.
I can't think of the... Is cowardice a word? How do you say cowardice? Let's check. Cowardice. Oh, I was saying it right. So yeah, like...
They're cowards. It's just their actions, it just shows that they're cowards. Like, they're not who our Kuang describes them to be. And I'm not saying that she's going around saying, oh, they're superheroes, or they're like they have like their head on their shoulders and they know what they're doing. No, but they sell but she sells them to us as these very, very intelligent people, and they're not. I don't know how I wanted this book to end. I just know that I didn't want it to end in a bloodbath, because that's how it ends. Everybody dies except for like 2 people. Everyone's dead. How is everyone dying gonna stop the government from continuing their illegal actions, their illegal businesses? Like, so you're screwing over the country and then you're killing yourselves, or getting killed. Make it make sense. The UK is just gonna continue. They're gonna find another Chinese boy who speaks Mandarin and English. They're gonna find another Haitian girl who speaks Creole, who speaks French, English, Greek. Like, they're just gonna find someone else to do your dirty work. Honestly, this book makes me so mad because it was so good and then it was so bad. Like if I disregard the foreshadowing and the weird writing and the footnotes, oh my god, I haven't even gotten to the footnotes yet. Can you please explain to me why a footnote would need to be half a page? Let me find it for you. Because it's never that serious. And this happened a few times, that we got a footnote that took up half a page. This wasn't like an odd thing. And also, since we're on the topic of footnotes, why is book lore dropped in the footnotes? Footnotes are for translations, for example. Very relevant in this book. It happens quite a bit. Footnotes are for context. Footnotes are for historical precisions. Footnotes are for a lot of things, but not for lore. Because why are we getting book events, plot events in the footnotes? I get you want to be different. I get you want to do something new. But please never do that again. Please never do that again. Now, I think I've gone over pretty much everything I had to say about these two books. Will I be reading Katabasis? I think I'll just wait a few months after it releases and I'll see what other people are saying. If some people still say, oh, her writing, show don't tell, descriptions, blah blah blah, all the bad stuff I've been talking about, then probably I won't. I am interested in the general plot, probably. Like, it sounds like I would be interested, but again, the writing, yeah. As someone who really enjoys literary fiction, and as someone who really enjoys kind of digging for meaning in her books, like reading between the lines, this felt like a Percy Jackson book to me. like everything was told, and even then Percy Jackson has better twists. So anyways, on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one, and hopefully I'm not complaining the whole time. I might go to the park and continue reading my current read that is already better than Babel, and it's from the 1900s. So bye guys.